Hi, welcome to Andrea's Kitchen. Thanks for coming in and cooking with me. Today we're going to be making a pretty simple mac and cheese. I'm going to go ahead and get my little roux started and get everything put together, and then we're going to turn around and put it in my baking dish and pop it in the oven until it's nice and melty and delicious. First of all, I'm going to get started on telling you about a few ingredients. I went ahead and saved us some time. I went ahead and boiled the noodles already, but it's 1.5 cups of dry noodle. So I'm going to go ahead and put that ingredient right over here because we know about it. Here's my finished product, just like this. And I'm going to dump it out of the colander right now, just so it can sit there. And I didn't rinse my noodles, so any starch, I just left them straight on my noodle so that it would just make everything gel better. So another thing too is I'm going to put the cheese back in the fridge. It's really kind of hot today. We're about 91 degrees. It's actually a lot lower than it has been. But I use sharp shredded cheddar that I shredded, and then I have some mozzarella. So all told, it's 2 cups. Honestly, it's about 1/2 cup of mozzarella and 1.5 cups of nice cheddar cheese. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in the fridge. Get some ingredients off my counter so it'll be easier to see. Then we'll use 2 cups of milk, and I also have 1 teaspoon of mustard powder, 1 teaspoon of parsley, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and then breadcrumbs. I always make my own breadcrumbs. I take my white bread that is getting older, make my own croutons, and when I have them, I also use some Italian breadcrumbs for the top of my mac and cheese. But what I do is typically mix them together so I can get that flavor. But I wanted to see how you could see the Italian and you could see my breadcrumbs. But I do it kind of even, but we'll go ahead and we'll mix those up when it's time. I am going to start off with my roux. I have 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to let it melt down just a little bit. And then I have 3 tablespoons of flour, and it is all-purpose. And then what we'll do is we'll just get everything mixed in. Then I'll add my seasoning. Then I'll add my milk and my cheese and the noodles. And we'll be good to go. Okay, we're doing good here. Everything's in. This is a real easy recipe. Real delicious. I used to try and make my macaroni and cheese so fancy. Boy, couldn't do it. I learned. It took me a long time to learn. Macaroni and cheese is good ingredients, but simple ingredients. Once you get too many, it's a mess. Okay. And basically, I'm just mixing the butter and the flour together, and I want to cook out the flour taste just a little bit. And that's what's going to make my macaroni and cheese thick, but not too thick. So, there we go. Whisk, 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 whisk. Oh, it's coming together, and if you see it on your stove, you'll see it's starting to bubble, and it's just perfect. I'm going to go ahead and show you. See, that's bubbling. That's wonderful. That's what we want. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to put in my seasonings and start mixing. Keep them mixing, makes it tighter. And then now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my milk in. Hear that little steam? Uh-oh. Don't splash on your stove, your stove like I did. But if you're not making a mess, you're not cooking. That's what I always say. That's why I always say, boy, cooking must be my therapy. I hate to wash dishes. But I'll wash dishes if I'm in the kitchen cooking, and it must just be my therapy that I love to do because I can actually do it, and it doesn't bother me. But I hate dishes. I hate to say it. Most of the time, a lot of times we eat on paper plates just so I don't have to do the dishes. I want to make good food. I want to enjoy the food, sit down and talk to my family when we're having dinner. But boy, I sure do not want to clean it up. So I try to use paper plates as much as I can. Okay, now we put our cheese in. we are good to go. We're just going to melt our cheese just a little bit, not too much. And then what we're going to just do is incorporate everything into my noodles. So my noodles are sitting here all nice. And then everything's going to come together. It'll be all mixed in. Noodles still are a little sticky because, like I said, I did not rinse them. I want to keep the starch from the noodle in my noodle, and it just binds the macaroni and cheese so much better, and it makes it taste more delicious in my opinion. And then what we'll do is, because everything is actually cooked, after this melts down just a little bit, we'll pop it in the oven till it just melts and gets a little consistency of golden brown. I like when the cheese is crunchy on top or has a little pocket. That is so good. So what I'm going to do is keep stirring. Oh, it's breaking down really good. Like I said, I don't need it to be totally melted. I just want to get it broken down, get the flavors incorporated from the mustard and the garlic and the parsley. Not going to salt and pepper anything until it gets out of the oven, and then I'll put a nice salt and pepper, a fresh salt and pepper. I like macaroni and cheese when the pepper goes on after it's cooked. You can do whatever you like. I'm surprised I don't use lemon pepper in here, but my family probably could tell, so I don't do it. That's when I would use lemon peppers in my macaroni and cheese. But like I said, I tried to do it too fancy so many times, and boy, just couldn't get it to come out right. So here we go. It's a nice consistency, and this is the consistency I'm talking about. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to take as much cheese off this little whisk as I can. So I don't want to whisk it in my noodles because unfortunately it will get tied up in the little grooves of the whisk. So now what I'm going to do is take my fork. Oh my gosh, and it's nice and creamy. It smells delicious. Color is beautiful. So let me move this away so I can show you guys. Plus I'm about to make a mess because unfortunately when you mix the two breadcrumbs together, it can make a mess. That's why. But I love the flavor of both. That Italian breadcrumb, oh, it's just awesome. When I make pork cutlets and stuff, sometimes when I do the pork cutlet and my chicken cordon bleu, I use those breadcrumbs because it's so delicious. So basically, they're just mixed up like that. Nice and mixed up. Oh my gosh, this is so cheesy and beautiful. Let me show you that. That is absolutely just gorgeous. And that's what you want. That's why I say it's actually a pretty fast macaroni and cheese too. Because now what we're going to do is oh, that's good. That's such a good flavor. We're going to take the breadcrumbs and we're just going to go like this. And you don't have to use them all. And then what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of paprika on it. But my family, we actually like the crunch on the top of the macaroni and cheese. Just to add another depth of layer. And because my croutons are garlicky butter, they're delicious. And then the seasonings they put in the breadcrumbs are absolutely amazing. I'm going to take some smoked paprika. Not too much, just a little bit. You have to be careful. This one bottle I bought has really big holes, and it's not like the standard one you use where the holes are smaller, so you have to be careful that you don't dump too much out. Okay, so this is going to give it a smoky little flavor. So I'm just going to show you real fast what it looks like going into the oven. It looks absolutely wonderful. Oven's been heating for 20 minutes on 400. I'm going to just warm on 400 until everything is nice and browned and crispy. We'll be back. Welcome back. Mac and cheese is done and it looks delicious and smells delicious. Oh my gosh. The crust came out so good on it. I'm going to show you first. I'm going to tilt it this way and then I'll have a picture on there And then I'll also put all the ingredients in the description box. And this makes quite a bit of food. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the mac and cheese. And I'm gonna set it out just like that, because I want you to be able to see the crust, but I want you to see the creaminess of it. Looks good. Now, you know, this is very hot. I just got out of the oven. But we're gonna put some pepper and salt. And it took me about 20 minutes to get it this nice and crispy in my 400-degree oven. Quite a bit of pepper on there I like. Just a teeny bit of salt. So I'm going to try it. First I'm going to try the noodle. Really good. You know, I'm going to try the crunch. I think it's really good. I think you should try this. It's a very inexpensive dish. I think I took too big of a bite though. I'm still chewing, honestly. But it's a very inexpensive dish. Right now groceries are very expensive. So, you know, I try to do things that are nice and economical. But, you know, some days there's days where you spend tons of money, and some days there's days where you don't, and you really watch your budget. The noodles, I think, the Gruyere cheese, or no, I'm sorry, the cheddar cheese, mozzarella cheese, it was all inexpensive. Breadcrumbs, inexpensive. Noodles, very, very good dish. Very inexpensive dish. Very easy dish to make. And boy, you can feed a lot of people. I would say with this dish, you could feed 10 people easily. So I encourage you to try it. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. And thanks very much.